Actually, for me, it's the picture that makes the picture. It's not me that makes the picture. I mean, I can find a good shot and I can find, try to pull out the picture. But the really good ones are the ones that were good to begin with. And this one was really good to begin with. This is a satellite picture of Venus, and it is extensive. It is a really crazy picture. Now, right down here in the bottom left corner, we have this round circular construction, but look at the detail on this. Can you see all of those structures? This is very, very clear, and it is also very, very complicated. This is another one of those videos that you might have a hard time seeing, on a phone or even on an iPad. It'd be very helpful to be on a large screen with high definition. There are millions and millions and probably billions of people living in this one location, and this picture is cut off on all four corners, so we don't even get the entire big picture. I don't know, and the other thing is too, and this is the title, once you see this kind of thing, man, you can't forget it. I mean, it's not that you want to forget it, but sometimes when you're looking at something, it pops into your mind, and you think, oh, that looks just like what I saw on Venus. So yeah, try to relate that with somebody, right? Oh yeah, oh really, that's what you saw on Venus? Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, okay. Pardon me, I need to go make a phone call. But that's what happens to me, and things are relatable. Now this picture here, you see where this area on the left where everything is sort of divided into cells? That's exactly the same thing I've seen on Mars. I've made videos on that specific thing. I think it was called This Is No Death Valley or something like that. Another thing is I've talked a lot about the rows of white buildings. Well, guess what? Venus is all about rows of white buildings, man. That's where I first realized what they are. Now look at these rows of white buildings going up. There are some very tall structures in there, some very long, very narrow white buildings. And that's the thing. I've had some people talking to me a lot about scale, and obviously that's always the big question. But when you look at these structures in relation to each other, it's hard to imagine. So you see these rows of white buildings, okay? Well, those buildings that make up those rows are sometimes dwarfed by very large, wide, square-type structures. And then those are dwarfed, at least in height, by these other very tall skyscraper-type structures. So when you look at all this white stuff, you think, oh man, there are so many structures in there, but then there's everything in between and maybe underneath as well. It seems that these things are going, you see crisscross patterns of structures going, of these lines going over the top of each other, apparently. By the way, these black stripes coming down through the picture are some sort of flaw in the picture from NASA. I don't know what it is, and I couldn't cut it out. I tried, but it was too much trouble, so I just left it in there. But look how these structures come down on the side from the right, and then the dark row of buildings going up to the middle. And just like Mars, everything here is just like Mars, except more, which is hard to believe. Because I've said over and over about how there's no ground in these pictures, and to say that there's more here it's really beyond what you can fathom. And especially when you consider the fact that this is just a cutout of, and again, to call it a city is, it's more than a city. It's not a city in the way that we think of it, because it's way too big. It's just a mass of civilization that just sprawls out and keeps going and going. You know, and I've always said that Mars is, that civilization has to be a couple million years old. It has to be. There's no way you could build that many structures. Well, it looks to me like Venus is ahead of Mars. How many millions of years have they been building here? Many, many, many millions of years, folks. They've got it figured out. Thanks for watching.